Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. So we got some shaking in Utah. We have anything from between a 5.7 and a 5.9. Well, actually even 5.6 over at CSEM being reported. The residents, though, say that it was a strong one, and this one is over very close to the Great Salt Lake. And we're going to take a look at what we're seeing right here. You see a swarm ongoing. Now, I've been watching a swarm that has been over in Goldfield, which I haven't seen the like of before. It's smaller right now. It is still ongoing in this particular area. As we know with the Earth change prophecies, it's predicted that a lot of the West is going to shift, break up, going to be massive changes. You know, that's what we have seen through these Earth change prophecies. And if you look at this, you see what we're looking at here. Here's Magna. And of course, we have Salt Lake City right over here to the east. And so at the moment, we're looking at 35 quakes. So we have a 5.7 to 5.9. And here over at USGS, they're calling it 5.7. And we have a lot of aftershocks, 34 aftershocks going on. And this is a pretty interesting swarm to see this. So we have a lot of reports, including reports of power outages. 5.7 earthquake leaves thousands without power. And so this 5.7 rocked Magna and surrounding areas early Wednesday morning is now causing thousands of power outages across the state. And of course, we have quarantines going on with everything going on as well. Rocky Mountain Power is aware of a large-scale power outages due to a 5.7 magnitude quake. Initially, approximately 73,000 customers affected along the Wasatch Front. Restoration steps have reduced that to about 49,000, and they're working with emergency responders to assess the situation so we can restore power safely. And we see over here, when we go and look at some of the people talking about it, we have the governor, Gary Herbert, saying we have 5.7 in Magna this morning, felt across much of the state. Follow proper safety measures in the event of any other aftershocks or quakes. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on this. There's about 2.76 million people that probably felt this quake, so very significant. And they had shaking across a 100-mile area, heaviest impact in Salt Lake County. Some residents ran from their homes and into the streets as they felt the earthquake shake buildings for 10 to 15 seconds. As we were talking about power outages reported. A tweet from the Utah Department of Health, which is handling the state's CV-19 response, states that employees have been asked not to come into work until the buildings have been evaluated. Salt Lake Temple, which is currently undergoing renovations, sustained minor damage during the quake, according to a statement from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The trumpet fell off of the Angel Moroni statue. That's interesting, isn't it? The trumpet falling off the statue. You take that as a sign, wouldn't you? As many people are feeling that we're in Revelation and the blowing of the trumpets. And, of course, we have trumpets, right?
We sure do. Trumpets, yep.
And, I mean, is it okay to share, Cindy, that you have been feeling very anxious about something, something imminent, I guess we would say?
I have been so wrong in the past. So saying this, knowing that I have been wrong, I just have this yucky feeling that we need to be a little more prepared than what we thought on that funny date coming up, 3/22. Just keep your vibration high, prepare in place.
Yeah, most definitely. Here you see Melissa saying, how big was that earthquake? Knocked stuff off my walls, encounters, woke my kids up, scared the crap out of everyone. I swear it's the end of the world, she said. And that sounds like a quote from one of the EEA family member's family. It was also her sister said something very, very similar. Like that felt like a lot bigger than a 5.7, 5.9. Love to wake up in quarantine to my entire bed shaking back and forth in a 5.7 earthquake. Isn't that lovely? And this other one, Savannah Hopkinson, says, this is not the March Madness I agreed to. Yeah, as we got all the games canceled, but we do have some March Madness going on. Nice morning earthquake near Salt Lake City to calm our nerves. Well, it's good that people can laugh about it because that's what we have to do. You know, we have to laugh about all this. And this is Utah Emergency Management, and they are saying Utah experienced its largest earthquake since 1992. It was a 5.9 in St. George. It didn't feel like a small earthquake at all. I heard things in my kitchen falling, said Michael McCarley, who's in an apartment at City Creek Landing in Salt Lake City. So, you know, this is one that definitely shook people up, literally. While, you know, as you see here, look at the bricks down on the ground. So some damage over there at this schoolhouse. As we have everything going on, and obviously with the quarantine situation, this is interesting. You know, worst case for Utah would be about a 7.0 magnitude quake that happens along the Wasatch Front. And the Wasatch Front sees a damaging earthquake every 350 years, and coincidentally, it's been about 350 years since the last one. And when we look at like what's been predicted, this is from Edgar Cayce, and in his own handwriting. And this is from April 1941. So he says, if you look at this, all these arrows, all this country drifting as things are going to shift. You see Utah is right there, as well as Nevada and Arizona, as well as Southern California. West of the fault stays still. You know, when we look at the San Andreas fault, we looked at different scenarios, and we've talked about these different scenarios many, many times. You know, there's different thoughts. Some think that it really could even break loose, and where LA is now could end up around San Francisco area. Literally. Literally. There's another thought, too, that the breakup could be even farther in here, where the Gulf of Mexico ends up extending all the way up to Reno. And having driven all through this area now, I could see where so many areas have been underwater, you know, and like, you know, where we have been most of the time at the elevation we're at, I don't think it was underwater, but yet not too far away, it was underwater, you know, not far away at all, just down the road. And you could tell. I've found we found the fossilized clamshell. You know, that was pretty wild. We've found coral. We have found sponges, and I don't think they look that old. You know, that's the bottom line. So you see here heavy quakes and movement all throughout the continent. Central area rises slightly, and you know, Edgar Cayce saw himself being in his next incarnation around the year 2100. So it's not like life stops. We are just going through a tremendous period of change. Interestingly enough, he saw himself being born in Nebraska, and where it is at that time, beachfront property. Yeah, that's what he saw, beachfront property in Nebraska. And that's where he saw himself being reborn in 2100-ish. Here you see Florida staying still. Atlanta, Georgia is going to be basically on the ocean. Charleston underwater. This stable area right here should be a safe zone, Western North Carolina, but you know, at the same time, everybody's going to have things to contend with. And, you know, I experienced landslides and mudslides over there when I was there last year. So, you know, and there's so much rain and saturation. Now, as you see, he says the Great Lakes drain via the Mississippi, so they actually drain into the Gulf. And the Great Canadian Shield is a stable area. You see the St. Lawrence River widens, and much of the Northeast goes underwater along the coast, but he said that was a lot later than the first breakups, which happened, really watch Japan first and foremost, and then the west coast of the U.S. So, excepting stable areas, the entire east coast of the U.S. sinks slightly. Interesting, predictions. And is this something that could be, averted with positivity, perhaps, and with intent? I think we could definitely mitigate things without a doubt. His predictions were that all this would already be pretty much well underway. He was off on timelines, and timelines are tricky when it comes to predicting things. Although what he did predict now seems to be looking much more likely from all the Earth changes, although a good 20 years, 20, 30 years in some situations later than what he had said. So could we perhaps with prayers and positive meditation and focus, push things out, make things not as intense? We are co-creators here, so there's definitely an effect that we have on our environment. And so we have to keep that in mind. And the other thing I've been noticing is a lot of unusual quakes in unusual areas. And they're not showing it here. CSEM was showing. Let's get rid of this. There was a lot of quakes down in the Carolinas, even in South Carolina. And here we see one way off the coast in the North Atlantic Ocean. So there's great changes going on. We have no doubt about that. Great changes are underway right now. So as always, my friends, be as prepared as possible. There's more going on than just CV19, and as if that is not enough, hang on tight, because it's definitely going to be a wild ride, my friends. Much love. Stay prepared. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.